Hi, I'm Nadia and I'm the Yogi.
And I'm Michelle and I'm the Blonde.
And this is the Yogi and the Blonde podcast.
In this podcast, we offer guidance,
Motivation,
education,
and inspiration
to help you adopt healthy habits you can sustain for life.
If you enjoy the podcast and would like further information,
head over to our Instagram or YouTube pages.
You can find the links in the bio.
Hello and welcome to the Yogi and the Blonde podcast.
Welcome everyone, welcome. Woo!
Woo!
It's been a hot minute or two.
It's been a hot minute for us, but if you're binge listening to the podcast, it will be like no time has passed at all. But we took a mini hiatus. I had a nice 3-week holiday in the UK, which was fantastic.
Nice.
And had a little back issue.
Back issue, life. But that's okay. We just keep working at it, you know, just because life throws you a bit of a curve, then we, you know, curve it back to that straight and narrow and then curve again. And that's life, isn't it?
Roll with those punches.
Yes.
So in today's podcast, actually in the last podcast, we talked about creatine. And I think the topic of today's podcast follows on really nicely from that, because today we're talking about hydration. And if you are taking a supplement like creatine, then to be adequately hydrated is very, very important. But as we're going to learn, being hydrated is important regardless of whether you're taking creatine or not.
That's right.
So Nadia is a little bit of a hydration nerdy nerd. So she loves water.
Wow, the agua.
Water of life. So I'm going to put Nadia on the spot, and I'm going to be asking her questions to educate us mere mortals that just, you know, get water from the tap. So she can tell us all about hydration and how important it is.
Water, so important. Well,
very important.
My journeys with hydration had to do with kidneys, my kidney disease. So I didn't drink much water at all, and I didn't realize. And I even had somebody comment on my skin. It's quite dry. And it was quite interesting. And I remember when I learned about my kidney disease, I was living in the South Island, and I was just doing a medical certification to extend my work permit visa. And from there, I got diagnosed, got a biopsy, and then I went and seen a specialist in Wellington because that was the closest for a renal doctor. And it was interesting because I paid like $300 for the doctor to tell me nothing I can do for you, just that's it, you know? And I just found it really weird. And I said, oh, I've been increasing my water. And she's like, you shouldn't be doing that. I'm like, huh? Like, I just found that really bizarre. It was a really horrible doctor. But from there, I went opposite to what they said, which they told me not to increase because they said it puts more pressure on the kidneys. I'm like, well, if I'm eating more salt, that puts more pressure on the kidneys, right? So to me, it didn't make sense. But if we don't drink water, our body starts to hold on to the water, called water retention. So, and when I lost about 18 kgs, a lot of it was water retention, inflammation, water retention. But now, when we think about our body as well, like Michelle, when you think about your body, do you have any idea how much of percentage of your body is made up of water?
I feel like I did know this, but I've forgotten. But I'm going to say 70%.
Yeah, 70 to 80%.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Some literature says 70, some literature says 80. I say in between, let's go 75.
Meet in the middle. That seems fair enough to me.
Yeah, and if you think about it, if something's made of a specific element like water, we'll say, would you not think that you would need to keep replenishing it, right? It'd be like blood. Like if you ran out of blood, you wouldn't be able to function, right? You'd need some
Yeah.
more blood. Why that some people get blood transfusions. So it's the same thing. So if you're not hydrating yourself throughout the day, 7 days a week, 356 days a year, what?
365 days.
Is it 65? I thought it was
Yeah.
56.
365, baby.
Oh, wow. I'm missing a week.
You've lost 9 days.
Wow. Okay. Learning
There you
curve.
go. I'm
Anyway,
just giving you a free 9 days added to your life now.
we thought it was 56. I've got it. Oh, wow. I'm now wanting to go on the computer. Is it
Yeah.
really? I'm questioning you, Michelle. I'm
Maybe
questioning you.
you're older than you think you are because you've been shaving 9 days off of every single day of every single year of your life.
Portion, actually. That's 45 years. So maybe a good portion. Anyways, let's go back to
Anyway.
hydration. But you get the idea where we
Yeah.
constantly have to be hydrating ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Like I have bad days, I have better days, I have bad weeks, so on and so on. So, the 56, I'm thinking of weeks.
That's still not right.
Oh, it's 52
weeks.
Sorry, I'm going to digress back.
Oh dear. Rewind.
I'm blaming it on perimenopause.
Fair.
I'm blaming it on
Not
perimenopause.
dehydration. So bringing it back to hydration. Obviously, we're made up of water.
That percentage,
So
yeah. And
if we were to not drink water, how would that affect our bodies and our bodily processes?
That's a great question because every organ has a percentage of it is made of water. For like our kidneys is like, I think 92% off the top of my head or something like that. It's a crazy amount. So you got to think we need to be hydrating. Our lungs is the same. Our blood is when you think about our blood is the same thing. It's about 90-odd%, 80 to 90% water. So, and what's our blood? Our blood is our main highway for our hormones, and especially females. Doesn't matter, male or female, but females, because we've got more hormones and we're a little more complicated in the hormone department. We need to make sure we're well hydrated. And you think about it, a lot of people say, oh, are you retaining water when you're around your cycle and stuff? That's when we need to amp up a bit of our water intake, because more than likely we've been eating a bit more carbs because that's what our body craves. Not saying that you shouldn't eat carbs, because we do need those carbs, but just think about it. Like your hormones are traveling through your bloodline. So if you're not well hydrated, then it's going to be sticky and hard to move. And the same thing as the liver and the kidneys, they're detoxification. So if you don't have good hydration, how's it to help get rid of the toxins from your body? So I don't think people really realize all of this. And it helps with other processes of, you think about thinking. Look at me right now, I'm a little bit off. But that's another story, another day. But it's just even your sleep. It affects the organs, how your digestive system works. It affects your joints. It affects everything. So, and now when we think about water, but we're also looking at the quality of water. So if I just go tap water, it'll hydrate you, but it won't be the best because there's heaps of chemicals in there. And what does your kidneys and livers do? They need to break down those they need to detoxify those chemicals. So it's that same, then you're kind of going back. So you're better to find some kind of filtered water, or even what's the best is like real clean water, not where they say in a bottled water, it's spring water, it's the best. It's not. It's actually the plastic does something, it contaminates actually the water, and it affects your estrogens, actually your hormone estrogen, with the plastic when it leaks in the sun into the water. So you want to actually find something that has the minerals, has energy back in the water. I have a medical grade machine called the Kangen water machine. That's what I drink. I haven't drank that in quite a few weeks because I've shifted and I'm still getting settled in, and I'm in a shared flat. So we're still in discussions on where it's going to go, but I'll get there. So I've been drinking, making sure I'm doing the gym filtered water at least. So yeah, so we want to make sure that that's that. Now, Michelle, have you ever experienced dehydration, or when you're dehydrated, signs of it?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah.
And what did you get?
So TMI, but when I've been really dehydrated, I've done really dark colored wheeze, like
Yeah,
dark orange wheeze, and it's like,
orange.
oh, that doesn't look good. So that's when I know, oh yeah, that's I'm dehydrated. So I
Yeah.
notice it in my urine.
Mhm.
I get a bit constipated.
That makes sense.
Um,
Again, that's the process of elimination, right?
yeah, yeah. So that whenever I'm feeling a bit constipated, the first thing I do is tend to increase my water because that tends to be the thing that I have potentially dropped off of. Um, but yeah, I guess other than my wheeze and my poos, other
But
things
that's a big thing of
they are.
detoxification, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a very important. Imagine if you
Good
didn't
for
put
you.
for like a week or two, you would be so backed up, you'd be feeling so sick.
Yeah, I'd be very, very upset about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I do care
same.
about my wheeze and poos. But no, other signs where I felt a bit dehydrated are probably
Mhm.
like in my lips. Like you said, dry skin. Like sometimes I
Yeah,
feel like
dry
I
lips
need
is another
to
sign. Yeah,
moisturize, I would say.
yeah,
And headaches.
yeah. Because if you think about it, it also affects your blood pressure, right? So if you're not
Mm,
well, if you've got high blood pressure, make sure you've got good hydration.
mm,
That could be that'll be a thing, and it'll affect the temperature in our body. So when we get hot, we're in the hot sun or been sweating, what do you want to do? You want to drink water, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
avoid sports drinks, especially if you're an athlete, like a professional athlete. Let me just rephrase that. A professional athlete, that's fine. But if you're just playing a sport once or twice a week and stuff, I would avoid sports drinks. Sports drink have sugar. And I'm going to go into things that can dehydrate you now is sugar. Sugar can dehydrate you.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, sugar. That's why if you have a lot of processed sugars, you should be drinking more.
Actually, do you know what? That makes sense because when I have had, and this does not happen regularly in
It
my
doesn't
life,
matter either way.
but when I have had lollies or something quite sugary, for example, on like a car journey or whatever, we'll have some
Mm-hmm.
lollies for a long car journey. I do notice myself feeling thirstier
Mm-hmm.
after that.
Same with
Okay.
alcohol.
I knew that alcohol was a dehydrator.
Most people should be aware of that. If you
Yeah.
feel like it's because you got to think, especially because there'll be some kind of processed sugar in most alcohol, right?
Yeah, and I guess depending on what you're mixing it with as
Mm-hmm.
well,
Yeah, yeah,
like a nice
yeah.
gin and tonic.
And then other things would be it's interesting. I hear I hear controversial, like conflicting there. That's it. Conflicting things about caffeine. I was told caffeine, but I think it's about the amount of caffeine because if you like, if you're someone who drinks like 6, 8 cups of coffee a day, and I think that'll affect it. But again, if you're having coffees with like the sugar, all of that as well, again, that will affect you, especially if you're having an ample amount throughout the day. Because when you look at clean coffee beans, clean that's not like not supermarket coffee beans, but clean coffee beans that doesn't have the mold in it. Because otherwise, coffee sits in the bags and it gets mold. That'll affect your brain, and that's not good for you. So I think that would be more like of a dirty type of coffee, would probably dehydrating because it would have mold toxins and stuff, to a clean coffee. Mm.
Just on drinks like teas and coffees,
Mm-hmm.
I guess depending on the type of coffee you have, like you said, the ones where you're adding a lot of stuff. So if you had a latte, that's like a little bit of coffee and water and then the rest milk. But if you were having like a long black or an Americano where it's just coffee and water,
Water. You
or
can
if you're
count
having
that
a
as
tea, well, this is what I was going to ask. If you, so I'm thinking of my nan in England. She's a prolific tea drinker. She loves drinking tea, and we would put a tea bag in a cup, fill it with water, and then put a dash of milk. So would that be considered, could you count that towards like your daily water intake, or would the caffeine in the tea negate
that
that?
depends again, how many is she drinking a day? And does she
Yeah.
drink any water? So I'm going to go, Michelle and I talked about sharing examples from our own experience and as we have been from our clients, from our friends, from our family. And I'm going to share one of my clients because one of my clients, beautiful lady, she's in her 70s. When she came to me, she just drank black tea. That was it. When I talked to her about hydration and increasing your water, she's like, "What's water?" And making a bit of it. She was quite cheeky, you know, lovely, lovely lady.
Mm.
But yeah, so a lot of black tea, and that's it. Now she's just tiny, and I'll share the formula with you guys how to figure out how much you should be drinking for your individual weight. So that means your size. Now she only needed 1.5 liters. She's a tiny little woman. And I was quite proud of her because she was drinking 1 liter a day. That's amazing. From nothing to 1 liter a day. I was like, you are bloody amazing, woman. And what was amazing is that cheekiness, she's like, comes to me one day and she's like, I went and seen the doctor and had a checkup and got my blood work done. And I went and seen him. What do you think he said to me? I'm like, I have no idea. What do you think he said to me about my kidneys and my liver? Like, what? And she's like, they've improved. He's wondering why and how did they improve? And I'm like, what do you think? I have no idea. And it was because of the water, because it
That's
helped with the
amazing.
kidney function, with the liver function.
Yeah.
Because they're hydrated, they're able to do their job properly. They help eliminate toxins through our skin, through sweating, through urine, and through bowel movements.
Mm.
So it's amazing, like any amount you can increase. Now, other
Mm.
signs of dehydration can be headaches, can be fatigue, it can be I've mentioned this again, your blood pressure can be affected that way as well because your blood pressure is linked with your kidneys as well, your kidney function, right? All of that. Your body is all linked up. So just think about it. Like if you, I love this little visualization of how it works. Imagine your cells. Okay. Imagine your cells in your body, and they're the round little balls of their cells. Okay. Just imagine what a dehydrated cells look like. So if you're listening just or even watching, close your eyes, and I want you to visualize a raisin, a dried raisin, what that looks like. And it's kind of, you think about it, it's dense, it's heavy, it's got a lot of sugar in it, more high sugar. I think it would. I don't know, Michelle would know better than I would. And then you've got your grape. Your grape is round and smooth and plumpy, and it looks like it would float a lot easier than something that's heavy and dehydrated and dense. So that is how our cells would look and function if they were dehydrated to hydrated. So raisin is the dehydrated, heavy, can't really move smoothly and get stuck on things because it's got little ridges and stuff. But then you got the grape that's round and smooth and plump and can float around through the organs very easily. And that's how it's a fascinating, it's like 2/3 of our intracellular body is hydrated. So it's amazing. It's amazing to think about how water can make such a difference. A lot of people think about food, 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 food. Now, with the dehydration, I'm going to go back to a client. Again, I'm going to go back to a client because I love hearing this from them. I had a client, I did a Zoom consultation. I always ask about hydration, how much they drink. We figure out how much they need for their specific body size. And from there, she needed just over 2 liters of water. Now, Michelle, do you remember this story at all? Do you remember how much her minimum she was drinking and minimum and maximum she was drinking a day?
Yes. It was tiny. It was barely anything, like 500 mils, half.
400 was her minimum. And what was her maximum?
Can't remember.
750 mils. That was a good day. And it sounded
Yeah.
from the way she spoke, that was didn't happen very often, but 400 was pretty much what she was drinking a day.
Yeah.
And she was telling me that she says, oh, she had finished uni. Now she's a teacher. She's been teaching for a few years. And she's like, I had all this energy and uni and I was going to the gym and it was great. And she's like, now I have no energy. I'm so tired. I get home from work. I've got a headache and my energy's flat and da 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 da. And I asked her about the hydration. We came to that. And then I challenged her. We had a Zoom consult on Sunday. I was physically seeing her on Tuesday. I challenged her to start increasing her intake of water, at least try a liter a day, if not try more than that, right? And slowly increase it up to her minimum of 2 liters a day. And on Tuesday, literally she like bows down to me and she's like bowing down to me like this. For those who can't see, it's like I'm bowing down to like a king or something like that. She was bowing down to me in a joking manner and she's like, that hydration thing, she's like, you're worth every penny. Mwah. She's like, it made a difference. Monday, she said every Monday she'd come home with a massive headache because it was her biggest day of the week at school. And she said she'd always come home with a massive headache and she'd be fatigued and no energy and just flat. And she says that was the first time I came home from work and I had energy and I didn't have a headache. And because she started on that Sunday, because we spoke Sunday morning, and she's like, right when we were talking, she's like started drinking. So we're just going right at it. And yeah, and to this day, I always check in with her, and if she says to me like, "Oh, I didn't drink my 2 liters. I've only drank." I'm like, "But yeah, what were you drinking though before? Like, reflect back to what you used to drink, which was 400 mils on average, your every daily minimum was 400 mils. I'm like, you drank a liter and a half. That is like almost three times, that's more than 3 times the amount, So you gotta see, wow, we have good days, bad days. I'm the same way. But as long as you're like going more than half on a consistency, you're improving.
Yeah. So you've mentioned a few times a formula that people can use to work out how much they should drink individually, which I really like because I think if someone were to look online and look for hydration recommendations, I do find them to be very generic.
Mm-hmm.
Like the 2 liters a day for women, 2.5 for men, or something along those lines. Like it's very generic,
Yeah.
but nothing else is generic. We
Yeah.
all need different amounts of energy, and so the same should go for water. So how would somebody work out how much they need for their body and
Okay.
lifestyle?
So the formula I've been taught, which is for your weight in kilograms. So if you weigh in pounds, for example, it would be 2.2 per pound. Okay. Yeah. And then, so what it is it's three, 3% of your body weight is how much you should be drinking. So 0.03% times your weight in kilograms will equal to the amount in liters. I know if anybody from the States, they do gallons, but we do liters. So yeah, just finding out your weight. And it's interesting because I don't think I was doing this with one of your clients, I think Michelle. Yeah. And she was surprised how much she should be drinking. She's like, oh my God, I don't even drink. She drinks maybe half of that.
Hmm.
Yeah. She was
I
like quite
just
surprised.
I just did my calculation and I need 2.1 liters.
Yeah. 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 I thought you'd be roughly around the same as me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put on a bit of weight. So I think I'm more now, but yeah, that's okay. I'm fine with it. It's part of the process. It'll come off. Sorry, I
And I
had to
think
mention.
That's okay.
It's
Let it
like,
out.
let it out. I
So,
just got to process it. Yeah.
so when you've got your amount, that's a minimum, eh? Because obviously things like exercise, weather
Yeah. Being sick,
will.
what you're eating. So let's say you have a lot of sugar. You were at a social gathering and there was like lots of like sweet stuff and cakes, or you've had lots of alcohol, then you want to be making sure you're like consuming more. When you're pregnant, you should actually be drinking more as well.
That's funny that you just mentioned pregnancy because I had a conversation with one of my clients today who is pregnant,
Mhm.
and we were talking about drinking water, and it's hard because you need to be drinking more, but you've got a growing baby pressing down onto your bladder. You've got less space with which the water to go in, so it's quite challenging
You're
to,
always going to the
yeah, you're
loo.
always needing the loo, doing an unsatisfactory amount of wee for how much you feel like you need to go.
Yeah.
Um, so it was a really interesting conversation, like the recognition that you need to drink more than usual, but it's so much harder than usual because of that need to pee all the time and
Yeah.
feel like it's too much.
Yeah. Have you do you ever get to a point where your wheeze are quite clear?
Yeah, that's how I know that I'm on track because I'm like my wees are nice and clear.
Yeah. Yeah. And also you got to be mindful. I know that being mindful with when you're taking supplements, that'll affect your color of your wheeze as well.
Mm.
So being
Yeah,
mindful of that.
I
That's why
think
when you said orange, I'm like, I've never seen mine go orange. I've seen it go like a quite yellow, like a dark yellow.
yeah. I don't mean like Barocca orange. I
That's
mean
what I
like
was thinking.
dark orange, like a burnt orange.
Okay, a burnt
But
orange.
not like a luminous orange, but
Yeah.
like dark orange. Like, oh, oh no, Lucozade still quite bright. You probably don't know what Lucozade is.
No, I have no idea.
No, that's okay.
Now, we're going to go into some ideas on how to maintain your hydration. So, these, like anything, like bringing exercise into play, increasing some healthier choices of food, any type of tool, you want to meditate, you want to stretch, any of that kind of stuff, you've got to start creating things that will link together to be able to help support that habit. So, one thing you could do first thing when you wake up, you got to think about it. You've been sleeping 6 to 8 hours, hopefully closer to the latter to eight. Um, but you got to think it's not like you're up drinking through, right? So what you want to do is the first thing, well, I do oil pulling and do my thing. I do that first and brush my teeth. But you want to have a glass of water. Have like 400 to, I've got a client who does 750 mils. I've got others that just do like a cup, but have a good glass of water and rehydrate the body. Now, another thing I also suggest for people is to put alarms on your phone, especially to remind you throughout the day. Everybody has those days where they're just so invested in their work or they're so busy and they forget to drink water. Another thing is to carry a water bottle around with you everywhere. Everywhere. Like I carry mine on even on the gym floor when I'm with clients. I just carry it everywhere. And another thing is to maybe try to associate it with other points of your day, your morning tea, your afternoon tea, have something after dinner. Give your digestive system at least a good half hour to an hour before you have like a big glass of water and it depends, like some people if they drink too late in the evening they're going to be up all night weeing, so I always try to get that good hydration first thing in the morning, get the habit going that way. Now, Michelle, I'm going to jump a little bit back to something because we were talking about at a point in time. I remember Michelle saying something about how she doesn't like the taste of water. And you were talking about those little flavor drop things. Are you still using that?
I'm not still using those. Do you
Good.
know what? Something that funny that happened in England. I found the taste of the water quite different to how it tastes here in New Zealand. And actually, even like showering, the water felt different on my skin to the water in New Zealand. I've just remembered that, which was
And
weird.
what, like in a better way, or it was worse, or how did it feel for you?
I didn't like the UK water. It made me feel like I felt like it was pruning up my fingers,
Drying out
which
because
can
the
happen
chemicals in
in,
it.
so maybe it's more chemical laden. I don't know. But yeah, I remember having showers and being like, oh, I feel really pruny, which you don't often get in a shower.
Yeah.
Um,
Unless you've been soaking in a bath for a while.
yeah, yeah, I would get like that in a bath, but not in a shower. So yeah,
Yeah.
the water did feel different. Anyway, that was a slight tangent. But no, with water, yeah, it's not that I don't like the taste of it. It's just boring, isn't it? And I tend to
Yeah.
go through phases where, like at the moment, I don't know if you're watching or listening, but I've been sipping from my bottle through this whole podcast. My bottle is 1 liter, so I know as a reference that I need to drink at least two of these every day to get
Mhm.
my minimum based on my body height and weight.
Yeah.
Um, and at the moment, I've just got water. I fill it up at Les Mills before I leave. So it's the filtered water. So yeah, I go through phases. I feel like the water temperature makes a difference. Sometimes I much prefer drinking really cold water to
Mm.
room temperature water. But here's another random thing that happened to me.
Okay.
I flew to and from the UK with Air China, and I took my bottle on the plane, and I asked one of the crew if I could fill it up. So they filled it up for me, and
Yeah.
he filled up half of it with boiling water from the kettle, and then topped it up with, I guess, plain temperature, room temperature water from the cart.
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. So it was like a slightly warm water. It wasn't hot, it wasn't cold, it wasn't room
Yeah.
temperature, but it was so easy to drink when you're in that horrible plain environment where everything just feels dry and yucky. So I was like, wow, this they could be onto something here. That kind of
I
mixed with
like
hot and
that. I like
cold.
that because ideally, when you drink water in the morning, it should be on not hot, but it shouldn't be cold. It should be kind of like a bit warmish. And that's because of the kidneys, right? Because the kidneys have been in rest to repair state. And so when you go shot with cold water, it's actually quite of a shock to the
Brain freeze.
kidneys. So, and it's probably something to do with that as well as
I liked it.
like being gentle on the organs.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise
Yeah.
me. Now, one thing with the flavor thing Michelle was talking about, you can you'll see like spas and stuff where they put like oranges, like sliced oranges or cucumbers and mint and stuff. And you can do that. You can put like frozen berries and mint, and that will help flavor it. And you can put it in like them little balls for loose leaf tea herbs. You can
Yeah.
put it in that and sift it into like a big jug of water, and that'll pick it up without giving away the bits and the floating berries and whatever you
Mm.
decide to put in it.
You can
Um, eh,
buy bottles actually where they have an
the
insert, so you put stuff in
yeah,
it and then you put that in and then it diffuses as the day goes. And then
yeah,
I guess when you finish, you can empty it out and replace it with something else. So you can
yeah,
get bottles designed now with those
yeah.
inbuilt, which is quite cool. I haven't got
Yeah,
one.
and then that's a lot more, that's in a better, if you're wanting to flavor up your water, that would be better than those drops. Because those drops, you got to think that's man-made. There's going to be some kind of chemicals. It'll be in a plastic little bottle. That's going to leak into it. You know what I mean? Like if you
Yeah.
really want to look at it that way. And I think I remember you reading it, and there was like stevia in it. So I
Mm,
know that's a more natural sugar, but why? I would rather get that from a piece of fruit or something like that, right? I'd
mm.
rather it be natural in that way.
Well, I guess you get the
And the water
added.
will dilute it anyways
Yeah.
with the fruit, right? And it's not like you're putting like a whole bag in there. You're only putting a few in there. That's just
Mm,
to flavor it up. It's
yeah.
not
Sam,
Yeah.
what's your take on this? So, I have a few friends in the UK that love, it's called a soda stream. We must get it here in New Zealand as well. So, it
Yeah.
carbonates your water. So, it's
Hmm.
not putting any sugars or anything. I don't know how it does it, but well, I guess it must throw carbon dioxide into the water somehow. So
Yeah.
it turns it into sparkling water. So quite a few of my friends were really into this because again, it just makes that drinking water experience more of an experience rather than just
Yeah.
drinking tap water.
I would
What's
like to
your view on that?
know, I would just like to know if it makes it acidic. So when you look at water, water should be at least a 9.5 pH when you're drinking it. But you'd be surprised how much stuff is acidic. How the bottled water will be either acidic, it'll be neutral. Neutral's about 6, 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, yeah, so I'd like to know because I know coconut water is a more natural way to hydrate as long as it doesn't have flavors and stuff added to it. But just plain coconut water is better than sports drinks. But then when I did the acidic thing of testing with coconut water, it was very acidic to see what the pH was. It was very acidic. Same with aloe vera water as well, very acidic. So that means we're putting acidic into our bodies, and that's what makes our body sick. So yeah, it's quite fascinating learning about the things that we drink. We think that's so good, and we think that is good for us. I used to drink so much coconut water. I've completely stopped because it makes the body acidic.
And did you notice a change in yourself when you stopped drinking that?
Yeah, because I just find that I feel a lot more hydrated. Now it's interesting because, like I said, I haven't been for quite a few weeks drinking the Kangen water because I just in the midst of moving and all that stuff. So I haven't had the chance of setting that up, talking to the flatmates and getting that sorted. Just making sure we're all agreements of where it's going to go and stuff. So I feel like I'm not as hydrated. I feel a difference. And the same thing, not showering in it. I haven't showered in my Kangen shower head. Oh my, since June, since the other place I was living at was getting renovated. So it's been ages. So I'm hoping this next week or two, I'm going to be able to get that all set up.
Mm.
I do notice a difference. But then it's again, like I say, like actual true spring water is the best because it's alive. Water is actually alive. When it goes through the system, the water plant system, they put so much chemicals in it to kill all the bugs. Because I have in the past, I remember an old boyfriend and we went away on a trip for 3 weeks and we had his Volkswagen van, which was like also a camper style. We went camping and mountain biking and stuff like that. And we were somewhere and we needed like some water and he had a filter to filter out the water, getting it from the stream, but we still got a belly bug from it.
Mm.
So because we don't know what's in the surrounding, we don't know if there's a lot of animals that have been pooing, peeing. We don't know if it's coming from some chemicals from up above or what's happening, right?
Mm.
So they've got to kill that. But when you do the research and you look at the pipes where the water comes through, it's disgusting. It's so
Oh,
gross.
I can imagine. I don't want to even think
Yeah,
about it.
not to discuss people off of water and go buy bottled water because then that's not good for environment. That's why I like filtered water. That's why I like water that's alive, that has nutrients in it, and
Mm.
has energy in it. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, we can go dive more into, we should do some time when I've got my machine set up and show you guys, do a bit of a testing, and I can show you about the acidic. We could totally do that one time. And
Mm.
then you can tell me some favorite drinks that are clear. And I need clear because that's how you can see the different colors, the changes of the water and stuff.
Yeah.
We could even do that with at your place, and we can test your water out of your tap and see what it's like and stuff.
Experiment. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. That's on. That's another
Fun.
podcast.
There we go. Another one in the
Yeah.
pipeline.
Now, what else? I think we're pretty much.
I think that's pretty
Tackled
covered.
everything. Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it and stuff. Now, if you guys want to learn more, just send me an email. Just find me Vitality for Health, or check us out on our social media, Yogi and the Blonde. We haven't actually spoken about our merch. So Michelle and I ended up getting some hoodies. Now, Michelle, do you want to get up and turn around and show the back, please?
I might fall over and tangle in my
Yeah, don't fall. We don't want you falling. Okay, perfect. So it says, remember you are worthy, remember you are kind, remember you are intelligent, and come up a bit. We can't see the bottom bit. Remember you are magnificent. That's on the back of the hoodies for those that are just listening. And then on the front of the hoodies, it's a black hoodie and it has a Yogi and the Blonde drawing that lovely Kyle drew for us. And that's a mate of mine's son. He did that. He's 14.
legend.
So he did that for us. So yeah, he did a very good job. So yeah, I think that's us for today. Keep an eye out. Like, again, comment down below, like us, share us, even post us on your stories and tell us what you like. What was your takeaway from this episode, or any of the episodes that you resonated with, that you're like, oh, I didn't know that. Even if it's something small, can make such a big difference. Remember, just a liter a day changed her liver and kidney function. So it's just the little things. It's not about the big things, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And if there's anything you ever want us to hone in on, a topic that you would be interested in hearing our views on, let us know. We're happy to oblige.
Give you a bit of scientific stuff, and then just share with our experience, our clients' experiences, and friends and families, because that's how we learn, is through each other. Not saying it's going to be exactly the same, because we are all unique and it's all about bio individuality, but it'll give you at least a bit of a baseline.
Indeed.
Okay, guys, thank you for coming and joining us today.
So much.
Sending lots of love. Ciao.
We'll be back. Bye. If you have enjoyed listening to our podcast today
and want to hear more, please subscribe using the button below.